First phase of census begins on April 1st. Indians can opt for digital enumeration, mapping the nation in the next 6 months. Caste enumeration for the first time since 1931. What should you know as Indians?
Well, in a major administrative and statistical milestone, the Government of India has formally notified the launch of the first phase of the Census of India 2027, marking a significant shift in how the nation counts its people and homes. Hello and welcome. You're watching a NewsX Explained with me, Vineet Malhotra, and tonight we take you beyond the headlines into what this means, how it will work, and why it matters. Well, the first phase of the census, officially called the House Listing and Housing Census, is set to begin on the 1st of April 2026 and will be carried out across the country through September 30th, 2026. The Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India said in a notification on the 7th of January 2026. The 6-month window is the broad time frame, but the actual operations will take place over a 30-day window in each state and union territory as decided locally. The 2027 census is expected to serve as the basis for redistributing seats in the Lok Sabha for the 2029 general election as part of the delimitation exercise, which have been frozen since 1976 due to the emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi's government brought in the 42nd Amendment, which froze the total parliamentary and assembly seats in each state until the 2001 census. The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Modi, has approved 11,718 crore rupees for conducting the Census 2027, data which will be critical for planning, formulation of policies and effective public administration. Now, this house listing phase is not about counting people. That comes later. Instead, it focuses on listing every household and housing unit in India, documenting housing conditions, recording basic amenities and assets such as water, electricity, toilets, as well as gathering details on rooms, construction materials and facilities. This foundational exercise helps set up an accurate database, the framework on which the population count phase will later build. What makes this exercise different is that for the first time ever, the census will be conducted digitally, a huge leap from traditional paper-based methods. Enumerators will use mobile applications and Android and iOS devices to collect data, which will be transmitted and monitored in near real time. This modern approach promises faster data collection and processing, reduced errors, and much better supervision and quality control. Officials say this digital backbone is a game changer, making one of the world's largest administrative exercises more efficient and accurate. And in a significant first, households will have the options to self-enumerate before enumerators visit. Here's how it works. Before the house-to-house visits begin, citizens will have a 15-day window to submit their housing details digitally. Those who complete self-enumeration will receive a unique ID, which can later be shown to the field enumerator for verification. This innovation aims to reduce time spent on visits, empower citizens, and improve data completeness. Now, there are two primary apps introduced during testing and early rollout phases: the Digital Layout Map app and the Census 2027 House List app, both serving their own distinct purposes. Both apps were launched initially for pre-test trials and now are being refined ahead of the full rollout from April 2026. The Digital Layout Map app is designed for mapping structures and layouts for housing blocks. Using this enumerator, geotag buildings and capture precise spatial and layout information such as digital layout maps of house listing blocks. This data is strictly structural and locational with no personal identifiers. The app collects address, coordinates and boundary information only. Then comes the Census 2027 House Listing app. This will be used for listing and recording house list details during HLO. Enumerators fill in housing attributes such as building type, amenities, utilities, rooms, construction type and more. And this app replaces traditional paper schedules with drop-down menus, coded responses and real-time entry. Enumerators use the apps to collect data digitally during visits, and most census questions are pre-coded, available as menus within the app. This ensures consistency across the country and reduces errors. More importantly, during house listing, each building can be geotagged using smartphone location services, ensuring that no household or structure is missed. The app supports Hindi, English, and a host of regional languages, helping enumerators and local supervisors work comfortably in their areas. These mobile apps are also connected to a central CMMS portal that tracks progress in real time. Supervisors and administrators can monitor coverage, quality, and status from the back end. And because data uploads are near instantaneous, supervisors can flag problems, check inconsistencies, and redirect teams quickly. In addition to enumerators' apps, citizens will have the option to self-enumerate as well, especially for the house listing phase. Residents will be able to enter their housing information online through a designated portal ahead of field visits. The primary mobile app for citizens isn't expected as a broad public download for general use. The self-enumeration will be primarily online through the portal in the initial phases. But why make this shift? Well, digital entry eliminates manual transcription delays and processing backlog. Built-in checks and real-time monitoring mean better data quality and less room for error. Moreover, with 30+ million enumerators and supervisors operating nationwide, digital tools reduce logistical overheads. Data collected now also lays a solid, digitally verifiable foundation for the population enumeration phase scheduled in 2027. So why exactly does this matter? Well, experts describe the HLO as the backbone of the entire census. This is because it creates the official frame for population enumeration later. It also enables planners to understand the country's housing stock and basic conditions. Additionally, it helps government and policymakers design better infrastructure, health, utility, and social welfare programs. Correct and up-to-date housing data is also vital for emergency planning, urban development, and resource distribution across states and regions. Once this first phase wraps up in September, the next major step, population enumeration, is scheduled for February 2027. Now, it is in this phase that personal details such as age, gender, education, occupation, religion, language, migration, and disability status will be collected. This phase will also be digital and is expected to include caste enumeration, the first of its kind since 1931. The inclusion of caste enumeration has been the center of much conversation. This is because India last conducted a full caste census in 1931 under British rule. Since independence, only scheduled castes and scheduled tribes have been counted in every census. Other backward classes, which constitute a large section of India's population, have never been comprehensively enumerated. In 2011, the UPA government attempted a workaround through the socio-economic and caste census. Under this, caste data was collected, but it was never fully released due to data inconsistencies, spelling variations, and classification on issues. As the enumeration was based on recording the respondent's declaration, it led to creation of hundreds of thousands of caste, sub-caste categories. That's why Census 2027 is being viewed as potentially the most consequential caste data exercise in independent India. The pre-test or the preparatory exercise for the first phase of the census was held from the 10th of November to the 30th last year in selective areas across the country. It had sought household responses to 35 questions, including the composition of the floor and roof of the house, main cereal consumed source of drinking water and cooking of fuel, and the number of married couples in the house. Meanwhile, preparations are already underway in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and the first phase of the census exercise from April by engaging about 1 lakh enumerators. A senior official revealed that preparations for the mammoth exercise involve at least 1 lakh enumerators and 15,000 supervisors. One such enumerator will cover about 200 houses, approximately housing 800 people. The training for enumerators and others to be engaged in the census exercise is to be held in January, February, and March, with each enumerator receiving a financial incentive of Rs 25,000 for their services. Nationwide, about 30 lakh field functionaries, including enumerators, supervisors, master trainers, charge officers, and principal district census officers, will be deployed for data collection, monitoring, and supervision of census operations. All census functionaries will be paid a suitable honorarium, as they will be doing this work in addition to their regular duties. The decennial census, traditionally held every 10 years, was delayed from its original 2021 schedule due to the pandemic and other logistical challenges. With this notification, the government has now formally kick-started the process, launching what could be one of the most technologically advanced census exercises in India's history. There are certain things to keep in mind as citizens of the country coming under the exercise. If you are a household head or resident, be aware that your region will have a 15-day period before the HLO begins locally to submit housing details online. Enumerators visiting your home will collect details digitally, so expect mobile app-based interviews rather than paper forms. That's your detailed look at the first phase of India's census, the house listing and housing census, set to begin from the 1st of April this year. From digital innovation to a self-reported option for the first time, the census marks a historic shift in how India maps its households. Stay with us for more as this mammoth national exercise unfolds.
First phase of census begins on April 1st. Indians can opt for digital enumeration, mapping the nation in the next 6 months. Caste enumeration for the first time since 1931. What should you know as Indians?